Hey y'all, welcome to Sipping Tea with Empress. We're back for another bonus episode. I am so excited to have our guest, Kaiya J. Hey girl, how are
Hi.
you?
I'm doing good. A
Good,
little sick, but other than that, I'm doing good.
good. So, I do have some questions for you today
Okay.
because I want to know more about uh, being an ABA therapist.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
ABA, it's an acronym for Applied Behavioral Analyst. And basically, it's a science that works on creating interventions to work with problem behaviors and turning undesirable behaviors to desirable behaviors. We mostly work with autistic children, but we also work with children that experience ADD, so like behavioral issues and stuff like that. So that's basically what it is.
Oh,
Behavior modification.
yeah. So just like taking their behavior and just trying to find another way to, like redirect it in a way.
Basically, there's certain goals that they have, and I'll give you examples. So for a kid that cannot speak, our goal is to get them to communicate more.
Okay.
So a goal we can have is getting them to ask for things. Mostly, if someone can't verbally ask for something, they'll probably try to like grab your hand and try to push you towards it. And because you don't understand what they want, they can get into a behavior. So our job basically is to notice the precursor, and which would be them trying to pull you and stuff like that, and getting them to verbalize what they want. If they cannot speak, what we would use is something called like an AAC device. So it's basically like a tablet that has different icons to ask for what they want, and we can teach them how to point to that. So they're at least communicating some type of it. Or we can use this thing called a PEG. It's basically the same thing, it's just not on a tablet. It's a piece of paper and it has Velcro stickies
Mm-hmm.
and they can point to it. Or if your kid can speak and it's just they need a little bit of help, we can do something that's called prompting by telling them, you can say juice. And then once they say juice, you would verbally praise them, saying, great job saying juice, and immediately give them that juice. So they know when I use my words or if I use my PEG icon or my AAC device, that I can get what I want instead of pulling, tugging, and then getting into a behavior.
Oh, that's interesting. So, how did you get into that?
I was working at a daycare that was all inclusive, so it provided services for children that were on the spectrum or just had behavioral issues as
Mhm.
well. Because, like, sometimes if your kid is bad, they get kicked out. So, the
Yeah.
place I worked at, we accepted all types of children. I actually worked alongside RBTs, and I just really got interested in the field. I always wanted to do therapy, and I was using daycare as a stepping stone just to have experience with kids. So I got into ABA, and speaking with the RBT for one of the students in my classroom, I just really fell in love, and I found a way to become one, and I've been doing it for about a year now.
Oh, you know what? You sound like the perfect person for that type of job. You just sound like very patient, very nurturing, very loving, and yeah,
Well,
I
thank
know they
you.
learn a lot through you.
Yeah, it takes a lot of patience.
I bet because my mom, she owns an in-home preschool, and
Nice.
yeah, that patience. I be sitting there like, okay, y'all, all right, let's focus in real quick.
Mm,
Um, so you just recently graduated.
yes.
How was that? How do you feel about that?
I feel very exciting. Not exciting, excited. It was not definitely the traditional journey. My first year, um, it had to be cut short because I ended up getting pregnant with my daughter. And instead of staying on campus, I switched completely online. So I went from being taught to teaching myself and then having to work two jobs and take care of the baby and then do homework. It was a very difficult journey, but I'm glad that it's one part is over with because I do start my master's in the fall.
Okay,
So,
masters.
yes,
Yes.
for applied behavior analyst.
Okay.
So, I'm excited about that. I'm 2 years and then I'm done. But it was definitely a trying period of time, and it taught me a lot about discipline and just how to be resilient, and hard work pays off.
Yes, I love that. And happy late Mother's Day.
Thank you.
So, we've talked about using being creative. So, how has being creative been in motherhood and in your work?
So, this dates back all the way to elementary school. I've never been the type to like follow the teacher. I feel like there's different ways to learn, and you can't just throw a book in a kid's face and say, read this, and then you understand the material. I feel like each person has an individual way of learning, and that I feel like it needs to be catered to. So, for me, I'll start off when I first started off in daycare. Um, what I did was I did like little assessments with my students, like in fun ways. Like I did like coloring sheets and I gave like simple instructions. So it's basically like an indirect assessment, basically seeing which kids have the capability of following simple instructions, which ones can follow complex instructions, and I placed them in like a group so I can individually work with that group and give a certain amount of attention to the kids that needed it the most,
Hmm.
and then also give some type of independence and freedom to the kids that really didn't need it. Because another thing I believe in is that giving a kid independence can is really good in fostering their growth and preparing them for the real world. Because if you helicopter a kid the whole time, they're not learning how to do things their own way and just allowing them to be creative on their own. So I could think of an example. In group time, we did a lot of art projects. And for science, this was my favorite. We made a lava lamp. I
Oh,
wish I could find a picture of it. But just doing that with the kids and teaching them about like simple stuff like how oil and water can do this in fun ways instead of just making them do a worksheet or read like a paper,
right.
making them get hands on and like be involved in the experience. So they're just not reading, but they're engaged and they're actually comprehending and they'll remember it because it was something they enjoyed
Yeah,
doing.
and it was fun. Oh, speaking of science, that takes me back to my seventh grade science teacher.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness! So he had us make our own rockets,
Wow, that's
and you could
amazing.
see like across the room our different designs of our rockets, what we wanted it to look like, and it was like so much fun because you get to see other people's perspective of their creative, abilities. Like mine had hearts all around it, someone else had stars on it. Like it was so cool and it was so fun. He was like, "Just make it your own. This is the rubric to how to make it, but make it yours." And I was like, "I got you."
Exactly. And I feel like that also makes people want to learn more when they feel like I'm in control of my education. I have the ability to learn the way I feel comfortable. It makes them more engaged.
Yes.
And that's really my outlook on things. That's what I do with my clients that I have. I allow them to lead. And it's not like I just let them do whatever they want, but I allow them to have some type of input on what we're doing because at the end of the day, I'm teaching them. So they need to retain the information. So if I'm just doing it my way, how do I know they're really understanding it if I'm just doing it my way?
Right.
So,
Right. And I think for like teachers, ABA therapists, the y'all are very much needed because especially those people like yourself who let their students and their clients dictate what they would like to learn about, and how they would like to learn about. Because I remember my ninth grade English teacher, that man was special. Let me tell you that that man was so special. If he didn't feel like teaching, he was like, "Yo, we're going to take a walk," and it was like a mental health day. Like he said, he needed one. Class, we're taking one together. We would walk like around the campus, bring our snacks out, and it just gave us a time to decompress
hmm.
because high school is a
Yes,
lot.
yes.
High school is a lot. So those people and those teachers and those therapists who those kids, like you said, they will remember that. Like I sometimes I'm like I'll be doing something I'm like, oh, take a day. Take an
Right.
hour, take 30 minutes because it's needed, especially now. It's very much needed. Yeah.
And even with that walk, you could still incorporate some type of learning. Like it was a science class, right?
English class. So he
Oh,
would be
English class.
like you could sit down under a tree and read a book or something like that. Like,
Okay. Yeah, that
yeah,
works out. I thought you said science, my bad. But yeah,
yeah, and it's
that's
really
great.
good. Yeah, but that's some really good work you're doing. Keep me posted about it
Yes, ma'am.
for sure because you know what, with the preschool, we may have kids that may need an ABA, and I'll be like, hey, I know one, I got one.
Yes, ma'am. There's a lot of us out there. I feel like ABA is starting to get a little bit more popular because before it was kind of like some pros or controversy around the topic because a lot of people felt like it's just about compliance and whatnot.
Mhm.
And it really depends on which center that you go to. So I know it's some places that really focus on DTT, which is discrete trial teaching, which means basically like schoolwork. You sit at the desk, do this, do that, do that. You get your reinforcement, and then you're good to go. But there's other centers that focus on natural environment teaching, which is NET, which means that you learn through natural things happening in the environment, which I feel like is most beneficial because in the real world, everything's just not going to be lined up for you. You know what
Right,
I mean?
especially
Some
yeah,
things are going to pop up, and being prepared for stuff like that, I feel like is very beneficial. And teaching um, our clients that most of the time everything's just not going to be laid out, that you're going to have to do some thinking of yourself and be able to spot that in a natural environment.
absolutely, especially when you're going into the workforce. Your bosses are not going to be like, you need to do this, and this. Like, sometimes you're going to be like, okay, you have to like mentally self regulate yourself. Like, yeah, this is our routine. This is what we do. And yeah, everyday
Right.
life. Yeah,
Yeah, I feel you.
you're going to need that in everyday life. What advice would you give someone coming into being an ABA therapist who wants to incorporate creativity into their work?
Advice I would give to someone is to definitely do research on the company that you're going to work for because, like I previously stated, each company has different values and different goals that they have for their clients. I would say to find a company that resonates with how you view ABA and how you want to create a difference in that field. If you want to foster creativity in your clients, I would suggest to work at a clinic that is more NET based, so natural environment teaching based, opposed to discrete child teaching because you just don't want to be sitting at a desk all day with the kid, just showing them flashcards and stuff like that. You want to work at a clinic that encourages the kids to learn through play and to just be creative. I would also say to actually do your research on the field. They provide a 40-hour course, but I honestly feel that like that's not enough. I had to use some of my experience in working with kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it would be great to actually have experience working with kids and working with kids that have disabilities so you can kind of like actually get because everything that you see in the course is not going to be like out there, and the course doesn't display every single behavior in
Right.
every single kid. So it's also great to really get experience out in that field first, and then I would also say again to do your own research and to figure out different ways to learn how to teach because in the field you will have a supervisor and just because they're your supervisor doesn't mean that they know everything. You're allowed to input.
Got
Yes, you're allowed to input your own opinions and implement your own strategies that you would like. I actually had a situation like that happen earlier this week, but yeah.
That's really good advice because I feel like just listening to how like the ABA job field is really based on how do you see yourself being this type of ABA therapist. Like you said, do you want it to be nature based? Do you want it to be, and along with the course being 40 hours, I feel like the general way they teach it of course, like you said again, is not how you're going to teach it. It's just like the general stuff. This is what it is,
Mhm.
and then you just take from that and you apply it to how you're gonna run your own thing.
Yes.
And again, I like that you said choose it for yourself
Yeah.
because that's at the end of the day you're dealing with these children. You're going to be doing the work, so you might as well put your own spin on it. Yeah.
Exactly. I've been so far, I've only been doing this for a year and I've already been at four different companies because when it comes to people disrespecting me or people just going against my morals and what I think is ethically
Mm-hmm.
correct, I do not play about that.
Yeah.
So it's some companies I felt like they only cared about it for the insurance money, so they would just keep on bringing kids into the clinic, even though the clinic did not hold the space for that many kids. And if adults are getting overstimulated by how many people are in there, how do you think the children feel? And
Right.
their nervous systems are way more sensitive than ours. So I felt like someone that actually cares about the kids and that is doing it for the right reasons, that's the type of company that you want to work at, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Um, because I've heard stories from my mom as a teacher. She's been a preschool teacher for 20 plus years. I
Okay.
think like around the time she had me, because I'm 23, so yeah, 20 plus years. And she's like, these CEOs and these administration people, like they're just there for a paycheck. They're
Mm-hmm.
just there to get some money. Like they don't really care for real. And so she's like, as a teacher, my job is to teach. Like she takes teaching very seriously because she's like, we're shaping young minds. Like if you're telling like this generation, you're the future of the human race, why are you going to let them slide through?
Exactly.
Push them, teach them. Be like, yeah. So I totally agree with that, especially with the morals. Then like, if you have no morals, you cannot talk to me. We have
Exactly.
nothing to talk about.
Right.
Yeah, especially when it comes to kids. Like, come on.
Exactly. They are our future. And if we want to have any hope for our children and our future children to be in a society that is, I'm trying to find the word, that is kind of not like this one. We got to focus on building our children and letting them know that they're able to accomplish anything that they put their mind to and they're allowed to be great. Because I feel like school, me, I'm not going to say that I hate school. I just don't like how it's kind of structured sometimes.
Hmm.
Like, you have to just follow instructions, that's it. It's like they're preparing you to just follow instructions, that's it. I don't feel like they don't have an extensive curriculum to teach us about finances, how to cook, stuff that's important. So
Exactly.
I would just like for schools to just be more extensive and to provide the students with the materials that they need for the future. Because it's a lot of people I know my age, they don't know nothing about taxes. They don't know nothing about being financially stable, anything like that. And I hate it because schools just teach us to do X, Y, and B, whatever that thing is, and
Right.
Pythagorean theorem, that stuff. So
For
like,
that reason was my thing. I was like, oh, you want me to try this? But you know what? That my mom and I have this conversation all the time because I'm like, adulting is hard. Like, but like when you're
exactly.
younger, you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get a car, I'm gonna get a house, I'm gonna get married, da, 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 I'm gonna go to Paris. Where'd that money coming from, ma'am?
Right, and they don't talk about none of that.
Where's that?
They just
Because
like,
yeah,
so I wish that most of the money, this, I know this is kind of off topic, but most of the money that they put towards the military and all that other stuff, it needs to go into education to fostering kids to be prepared for the adult life. Because it's a lot of people I know from high school and middle school that they didn't have the proper guidance that they needed because their parents didn't have that guidance. And just seeing them live a lifestyle that I don't feel like is right for them, it kind of hurts me sometimes
yeah,
because it's like, some kids they had to learn it on their own and some kids can't because they were not provided with the certain amount of materials
like the
that they needed
resources
for
for
that.
it. Yeah, and I think it again, like you said, like because everything starts at home. Like we know that it's implemented up here, we get that. But if our parents didn't get taught, our grandparents, their generations are losing out on this vital information. Even though we now have like home ec and stuff like that, it's still not enough. Like we need a course where parents
Wait,
can
home
go.
ec? I didn't have that.
Yeah, my high school did. It was like a middle school and high school did. So they
What high
came in.
school did you go to?
I went to Atkins.
Atkins? No way.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I went there for a year in Winston-Salem, right?
Yep.
That's crazy. I actually went there for a year.
Yeah, I went to Atkins. I think it was ninth grade, and it was like we had to learn about debit cards, credit cards,
I do
rent,
not remember that.
mortgage. I forgot what it's called. It's not called home ec. It's similar to that though. It's like lifestyles or something. I don't remember.
I don't remember that. I didn't take that class.
Yeah.
Okay, did I go my ninth? Yeah, I went my ninth grade year. Yeah, because I lived in Winston for like a year. But I remember the class I had to take. It was like biomedical science, something like that, or
Oh,
biotechnology or whatever.
I
Like they
wasn't
have like little
biotechnical.
majors there. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I liked Atkins for that reason, where they had majors, the medical major, the engineering major, biotech. Like they gave you options. It wasn't just
Mhm.
like a regular school where it's like these are your courses, take them,
Right.
graduate. Atkins was like we're pushing you for university, we're pushing you for college. So this
Yeah.
is your major, these are your courses. You get to pick your courses, and as long as you have this much credit to graduate, have fun. you know.
Okay. And my best friend, she actually went there as well, and she was able to get her CNA license through there. So
Hmm.
that's something I like as well. That they're like building milestones. Excuse me. Unfortunately, my other high school that I went to did not do that. So I'm glad that Atkins was able to do that. But I felt like if they had more schools that were able to do that, and I know that you had to be on like the wait list to get into the school as well.
Yeah, you either have to be on the wait list, picked
Right.
at magnet night, or your sibling. If your sibling was there, you got it.
Yeah, that's one thing I kind of don't like because I wish it was like all inclusive, so everyone has a chance
Yeah.
to be put in that school. But I don't know how my mom got me in there because we was new to that area, and I did not go to no magnet school. I went to Mineral Springs, so but
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, like creating schools like that for everybody, so everyone has a chance. Because you could just imagine, like, if everyone's given the same opportunity, then everyone just you could like see how far they would be able to grow. Why did this fly get me? Sorry.
But you know what? What I learned about Atkins being there is I learned that it was three separate schools. Each
Hmm?
major had their own school, and it was all inclusive, but because of the area it was in, they had a lot of fights, a lot of like bad kids coming. I don't want to say bad kids, but like the area that it's in, so they had a lot of
Mhm.
that feeding into it, and so they made it like a magnet school, and they saw a boost in education and numbers, and they're like, okay, if you want to come in here and not be on no type of time, then you can be here. And like you said, the inclusive thing I do agree with, because a lot of the population in Atkins, like, why not include the other people? Like I get why you stop,
Mhm.
but you're teaching courses that these other schools are not. Glenn's not, East is not, Carver's not, like
Mhm.
Kennedy's not. Like, come on, we need to push our children.
Exactly. I want more for us because my mom actually left Winston-Salem for that exact reason. Unfortunately, while I was living there, I got robbed by a close friend of mine. And my mom, she was like, I don't want my kids growing up in an area like this. And I just hate that because the way they were raised, they feel like they don't have any other opportunities to be greater than what they were raised by.
Yes, and I really hate that too, because you do have the resources. They're out here, and I feel like sometimes parents don't push their kids to get these resources because I wasn't pushed, but that's not, you've already lived your life. Want better for your kids. Like at the end of the day, at least push them to do something more than
Hmm.
you were just here in Winston, you're from the south side. Like you're just from Walltown, we have to rob to get our way. No. No. Go to
Right.
school, get an education, and find out what you want to do. If you want to be an artist and sell art on the street, by all means, go ahead. But robbing to get your way, stealing to get your way, it's not the way. It's
At
not the way
all.
to get out of your situation for sure.
At all. And I feel like it all ties back into creativity and how that could like foster independence. I remember I seen a video, I wish I could find it, but it was a little boy where someone gifted him a keyboard piano, and since he had nothing else to do, he would just play it, and like all the people in the neighborhood would come to see him and stuff like that. So it's like if we're providing our kids and we're allowing them to be creative, they can blossom into great things. And I feel like that could also tie back to the question you asked me before, like how do I integrate creativity into motherhood?
Mm-hmm.
So with my daughter, anything that I do, like especially like with cooking, I make her a part of it. And so for example, when she was younger, I used to wear her on my chest, and I would just say, "Oh, I'm gonna get the pan, I'm gonna get the spoon, and this and that." Allow her to be a part of the process. Like even if she makes a mess, if she was to like spill something in there, like I remember one time we were making cookies and I had the blueberries out because I was feeding them to her. And I don't know how this girl got the blueberries in the thing, but she did. And it was we was already making chocolate chip cookies, so I said, "Oh, you know what? I guess we're gonna make blueberry chocolate chip cookies." It actually ended up being good. Instead of like me yelling at her and just being like, "You don't listen," da 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 da. I was like, you know what? She did that. Okay.
And hey, look,
And
I got a new creation out of it that you didn't even know was good.
right. And another thing, I bought her musical toys. In her room she has a little piano. She's obsessed with Bluey. I don't know if you know what that is,
Yep.
but she's obsessed with Bluey. I got her the little xylophone and whatnot, and we just sing, make songs. I just recently found out this out today. She had a pen in her hand, and I was trying to get it from her because I was like, "Girl, you can't have that. I don't want you to poke yourself or eat it or nothing." This girl, she was looking for a piece of paper and she just started scribbling on it, and I was like, "Oh my god, you're trying to write!" So I went and bought her some coloring books and stuff like that. So I kind of feel like it goes with like independence and creativity. Most of the time, most parents will think their kids are just being bad and they're just trying to make a mess, but the whole time they're just trying to copy us, but they don't really know what to do.
You're
My daughter,
right.
she's seen me write a bunch of times and color and stuff like that. So me thinking she just wants to take the pen and she's running around, she was just trying to do what I do, write on the paper.
Yes,
So
writing on the wall. She wants to get a piece of paper like mommy. She's like, girl, I can write too. Like, yeah, I hope that when I become a mom, that I really do push creativity because I am a CEO of a nonprofit support group. I'm
hmm.
I'm an author, so like I would like I love the arts. So
Hmm.
like I would love to have them immersed in the arts. Because I was in chorus, I did dance. So I was like, if you want to learn or be in that, if you want to do dance or play the oboe, like
Right.
I will put money towards that. I will encourage you to do that for sure. Because creativity is something that we all need.
Right.
And watching the kids at my mom's preschool, like their imaginations are just crazy. They're like, look, Naya, I built a rocket out of blocks. I'm just like, you better, you better
Right.
do it.
Like, where are we going? Mercury, Venus,
What are we doing?
Jupiter.
Can I bring my friends too? Like, yeah. So, and Legos. When I was
Yes.
a kid, oh man, I made towers and palaces and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
my mom just allowed me to grow up in my own creative bubble. And I
Exactly.
love that. I love that.
Exactly. And I think I actually want to congratulate you because I didn't know that you did all that, that you were a
Yeah,
CEO and an author. So that's amazing.
thank you.
And back to like what we were saying before, like I feel like creativity is so important because it just fosters so much independence and it helps people with creating their own ideas because like you saying how your mom let you do your own thing and be creative. Look at you now. You're a CEO, author, like period.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, because poetry, and I'm a poetry author, so you have to be creative to get some poetry.
Mhm. Because them stanzas, I remember in class, English class, they was like, "What does this mean?" I said, "You know what? I don't got time to. If they said Romeo died, blah blah blah, that's what he meant. I don't know what else. That what else?
Romeo and Juliet died for each other. Kevin closed the book, and oh my goodness, I remember one assignment. It was like you had to write a haiku.
A haiku. I think I remember what those are. It's like one line is like five sentences, the other one is like six or something like that.
Yes, haikus literally make me just not want to write anymore. I could not stand haikus. I remember I had to write a sonnet like William Shakespeare. I was like, he did it. Why do I have to? But those assignments pushed me, and so now when I write, I'm like, okay, like I don't write to like a certain because like you said, independence. I do not like to be in a box. I write freely.
Hmm.
Whatever comes to my mind is written down. So yeah, that's my type of poetry. I like free form poetry, and I call it universal because you can relate to it even if you didn't experience it. You can somehow pinpoint a time in your life where you felt like this or you saw this, and yeah, and I just love that.
Right, and I love that. I definitely would love to read one of your pieces.
Yes, girl, let me know. Let me know. I have two books out on Barnes and Noble. I have merchandise, shirt and hoodie. Girl, yeah.
Nice. What's the name of the book?
The first one is When Your Inner Thoughts Find a Voice, and the
Hmm.
second one is The Conflict Within.
Okay, nice. Usually on the weekends, I go to Barnes and Nobles with my daughter because, like, you know how they have that little section
Mm-hmm.
where the kids section and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
we get us a little Starbucks treat, and I go read her some of the books, and whichever one she likes the most, I buy one of them. So I will definitely be on the lookout for that. I'm in the Fayetteville area, so is it only in Winston or?
Right now, I'm trying to get them to push the book in store. It's currently online,
Okay,
but when you go in store, they will order it for you online.
nice.
Yeah, so because I feel like because I published through them, and I'm like, if I'm publishing through you, why wouldn't my book just be in the store? But I digress. It's okay. So yeah, yeah, it's currently online. I'm pushing for it though.
Okay, that's
Yeah, but I will
great.
be doing a book tour this summer. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
I'll be on the lookout for that.
Period. So, at the end of every episode, it is a ritual here, it is a tradition that our segment is called Sip That Tea. And during
Hmm.
Sip That Tea, you can air out any grievances that you have, anything you want to get off your chest, or any encouraging words you want to give out. The floor is yours.
Okay, so I want to promote positivity, not negativity. So I would give some. I will give some advice. What I want to say is to always never doubt yourself. I'm pretty sure at one time when we were younger, we felt like we probably couldn't accomplish much, probably based on like what was around us, our surroundings, and I really want people to look past that, and I want them to understand that they are really the author of their life. Whatever they want to happen, or whatever you want to happen in your life, you ultimately have the power to make that happen. For me, where I'm at right now, I never thought I would end up here. It was times where I felt so discouraged and I felt like I would not be able to amount to anything. I don't know if you're religious or not, but after just letting God, and just having faith in everything, that I was able to overcome that stuff. So, my advice is to understand that you are the author of your life, to always remain positive whenever you feel like you can't do something, that's your sign to just keep on going harder.
Yes.
And like we what this ties on to just be creative, to never be afraid to express your creativity, to express your ideas, your opinions and stuff like that. If someone doesn't value it somewhere, someone else will. So that's my little advice.
Yes, I love that. And you know what? What I tell my support group members, I'm always like, one voice affects many. And I'm like, if you keep telling your story, someone will stop and listen to it. And that goes to creativity, like artists, photographers, actors, actresses. Like they hone in on their craft because someone's watching, someone's paying attention. And I always try to say like, y'all, where you are right now, you're not gonna be here the next year, next month, 5 years from now. Like keep going, keep pushing. And I'm so glad that you did keep pushing because girl, look at you.
Thank you. Look at
Hello.
you. Look at us.
Look at us, right? Like young, like we're in our young 20s, 21, 23.
Mhm.
Like these are years where many people are still trying to figure out where they're going. I mean, even though we are, but like we have our, what is the word I'm looking for? We've already established our goals and our dreams to where we
Mhm.
would like to be in our careers, and
Mhm.
we're going for it. We're going for it. So
We're building
yay
those little
us!
steps.
Yay us! Yay! But thank you for coming on. I'm so glad that you came on the show, and thank you for reaching out.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I
Yeah.
was scrolling through Facebook and I just seen it randomly. I was like, you know what, let me do this. Let me try something new. I've always wanted to get into podcasts myself, but I just honestly felt like I never had the time and I didn't know like if I would be good at it. And I honestly enjoyed this experience so much, getting to talk to someone and just share experiences of life. It's been very fun. So thank you for allowing me to come on here
Of
and
course.
chat with you.
And I will say, I did feel the same exact way. I've always wanted to have my own talk show. And I don't
Hmm.
know why, because I don't like to talk that much. But I just love like the inclusiveness of talk shows and having different hosts share their experiences of growing up. And I didn't think I would be good at podcasting, and I thought it was hard. But I logged in, and I found like the of course I did my research, of course, and I found like different platforms, and I found the one that fit for me. And you don't really have to edit. Like this is pretty much unedited because editing takes a lot of time.
Hmm.
It does. And so I was like, you know what? We're going to be unfiltered and unedited, and we're going to upload this to YouTube. But yeah, it's been a good experience. I will say, if you do want to venture out to podcast, do it. Do it. Dive head in, like, first into it. It's a lot of fun. And you get to meet a lot of interesting people and connect with a lot of interesting people, especially with, like, like I said, preschool, ABA therapists. You know, you make connection. So yeah. Yeah. But thank you for coming. I'm so happy. And you have to come back and tell us what happens.
Yes.
Yes, because that master's, yeah, we going yeah, go ahead and get
I
that
will
girl.
see you guys in 2 years.
But thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Bye. You have a great afternoon.
You too.